FBI's hunt, and $250,000 reward, the chilling disappearance of Palak Patel. Hi everyone. It was just before midnight, at a quiet donut shop in Maryland, an ordinary night that turned into a chilling mystery. Palak Patel, a 21-year-old newlywed with a heart full of dreams, was working her usual shift with her husband. But by the time the next customer walked in, she had vanished. And what police would discover in the back room would launch one of the most intense manhunts in FBI history. The prime suspect, her own husband, who disappeared into the night and has evaded capture for nearly a decade. With a $250,000 reward still on the table and new calls for justice as Palak's birthday passes once again, this case remains as urgent and heartbreaking as ever. What really happened behind those donut shop walls? And how has one man stayed hidden in plain sight all these years? Let's uncover the story that still haunts investigators to this day. Dear friends, Palak Arvindbhai Patel was born on May 31, 1993 in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India. She grew up in a close-knit family that admired her for her compassion, quiet strength, and sense of responsibility beyond her years. Palak was the kind of person who took care of others without being asked. She loved children, dreamed of becoming a teacher, and always prioritized her family's happiness. When her parents arranged her marriage to 23-year-old Bhadresh Kumar Chetanbhai Patel in 2013, there were no immediate red flags. On the outside, it seemed like a promising match. After the wedding, Palak moved in with her in-laws, living a traditional life in Ahmedabad. Then, seemingly out of the blue, she informed her family that she had received a visa to go to the United States. It was a surprise, but not a concern. Like many young couples, she and her husband were pursuing better opportunities abroad. In September 2014, they arrived in the US, ready to build a new life together. They settled in Maryland and began working long shifts at a local donut shop, owned by a distant relative of Bhadresh Kumar. Together, they worked the grueling night shift 12 hours side by side, handling orders and cleaning up. Then they alternated on day shifts to keep income flowing. To outsiders, they may have seemed like a hardworking immigrant couple chasing the American dream, but behind the counter, not everything was as it appeared. In March 2015, just weeks before the tragedy, Palak's parents visited the couple in the US. They spent time together, but something felt off. Palak was never alone with them. Every conversation, every interaction was overseen by Bhadresh Kumar. He never left her side. Still, there were no visible signs of conflict or mistreatment, nothing to indicate what was to come. But Palak confided in her family she was homesick. She missed India. She wanted to go home. That homesickness may have been the final crack in the foundation of their relationship. On the night of April 12, 2015, Palak and her husband were once again working the overnight shift at the donut shop. Surveillance footage from that evening shows Bhadresh Kumar briskly walking toward the back of the store. He held a phone on speaker, as if he were in a conversation. Palak followed him without hesitation. A small, ordinary act that would become tragically significant. Seconds later, both of them disappeared from the camera's view, and from that moment on, Palak Patel was never seen alive again. What happened behind that wall was quick and devastating. Investigators believe that, in the storage room, Bhadresh Kumar used an edged weapon to end Palak's life in a sudden and unprovoked attack. The brutality of it stunned even seasoned detectives, and what made it even more chilling was the fact that customers were still in the store at the time, completely unaware of what was taking place just a few feet away. After the attack, Bhadresh Kumar didn't panic. He didn't call for help. Instead, he walked calmly out of the store's rear entrance. He went home, changed his clothes, grabbed personal belongings, and disappeared. Surveillance later captured him boarding a cab to Newark, New Jersey. By morning, he was seen at Newark Penn Station. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. When employees failed to show up for their shift change, a customer called the police. Responding officers discovered Palak's body. The scene was grim, and there was no sign of Bhadresh Kumar. Local authorities immediately recognized the possibility that he had fled the state, or even the country, and reached out to the FBI for assistance. A federal arrest warrant was quickly issued, charging Bhadresh Kumar with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. He was later added to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. A reward of $250,000 was offered to anyone who could provide information leading to his arrest. Yet, despite widespread publicity and multiple international leads, Bhadresh Kumar has never been found. What made this case particularly chilling for investigators was not just the act itself, but the premeditated calm that followed it. FBI Special Agent Jonathan Schaffer, who has worked this case from the beginning, pointed out something rare in many cases involving domestic violence. The attacker often shows remorse, calls 911 or confesses. That didn't happen here. Bhadresh Kumar acted with intention. He had a plan, and he executed it flawlessly. He never looked back. What was the motive? That question still lingers. According to those closest to Palak, her growing desire to return to India may have created tension between the couple. Perhaps Bhadresh Kumar feared losing control or felt betrayed by her yearning for home. Or perhaps something darker was brewing beneath the surface all along. The surveillance footage shows no signs of a struggle, no warning. Palak followed her husband with complete trust. There was no time to react. She had no idea what was coming. Schaffer said in a later interview, she followed him into the back like she probably had 100 times before. But this time, he had different intentions, and she never got the chance to say no. Palak's story resonated far beyond her Maryland community. Her family, back in India, was devastated. Her mother's grief remains visible in every interview. She just wanted to come home. She said, "He betrayed her, and we lost our daughter for nothing." That pain, that sense of unfinished justice, still drives their pursuit of answers. Over the years, leads have come and gone. There have been tips, sightings, and theories, but none have led to Bhadresh Kumar's capture. The FBI believes he may still be in the United States, living under an assumed identity, possibly aided by relatives or connections. He is now 35 years old, 5'9", with brown hair and brown eyes. He speaks Gujarati and Hindi, and may be blending into communities where he doesn't draw attention. The FBI has emphasized that someone, somewhere, knows something. Perhaps they don't realize it, or perhaps they're too afraid to come forward, but even the smallest piece of information could finally lead to justice. The reward still stands, the case is still active, and Palak's family is still waiting. For many of us, this story is a distant tragedy, an unsolved case from a decade ago. But for those who loved Palak, it's a daily wound. Her birthday still comes every May. Her room in Ahmedabad remains untouched. Her mother still lights a candle for her. And every year that passes without answers is another year of pain. Palak Patel was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a dreamer, a young woman full of life. Her story deserves closure, and her killer deserves justice. 10 years may have passed, but Palak Patel's story has never faded from the hearts of those who knew her or from the files of investigators still working to bring her justice. She was a daughter, a friend, and a young woman full of promise. Her life was stolen in silence, and her voice deserves to be heard. As her birthday quietly comes and goes each May, her family continues to hold on to hope, hope that one day, the man responsible will be found, and the pain she endured will no longer be unanswered. If you know anything, no matter how small it could be, the missing piece that brings her family peace, justice has been delayed for a decade. But with your help, it doesn't have to be denied. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this story so Palak's memory and her case never disappears.